Welcome back to the We Are City channel for an episode of our Manchester City career mode here, the reboot on FC24. Of course, at the end of the last episode, we saw official news that Manchester City had made a big bid for midfielder Bruno G. In today's episode, we kick things off with news from our sporting director, Cheeky Stein. News that offer for Bruno G has been rejected by Newcastle United. Cheeky comes to Pep Guardiola to say Newcastle have rejected our first offer for Bruno G. They're holding out for a higher offer, it seems. Now, they didn't specify an exact figure, but from what I gather, they're looking for something significantly higher than 75 plus the 10 million that we offered. We have a decision to make, says Cheeky. Do we go back in with an improved offer, or should we shift our focus to someone else? Now, Joshua Kimmich is still an option, says Cheeky. Bayern might be willing to negotiate, but it won't be easy or cheap either. And that is the issue, isn't it? We need to weigh up the pros and cons of each move. We need to decide if we're going to go all in for Bruno G or pivot to Joshua Kimmich. We could also consider other alternatives if neither works out, because we're desperate for a holding midfielder to play alongside and back up Rodri. We'll continue to monitor all positions, says Cheeky, but for now, midfielders should be our main focus. I'll ensure we stay on top of these targets. So that is big news, isn't it, in terms of the Bruno G deal. Will City go back in with another offer? Well, you guys are in favour of signing Bruno G over Joshua Kimmich. So I'm going to say we're going to go in with one more offer. One more offer that won't reach the £100 million mark. We certainly won't be going there, but we will make a higher offer for Newcastle to see if that is something we can negotiate with. Cheeky now will put together that offer with the club, with the financial department and so on, and let's see if we do get our man, the Brazilian from Newcastle. Well, more news on midfielders in terms of that holding midfielder role. Calvin Phillips, who we are looking to move on in the transfer window, is back to complete a loan move to Everton this summer, and you can see here they have made a loan offer for Calvin Phillips, along with an option to buy of £15 million that has been accepted by Manchester City, and a move for Calvin Phillips away from the club looks certain now, and I think a move to Everton replacing Onana, his move to Aston Villa, seems like a good move, the right move for Calvin Phillips, and I do think he can reignite his career under Sean Dyche at Everton. For more transfer news in terms of outgoings, and this time we're talking about one of our star strikers and star players, and Julián Álvarez. We've received 3 offers for Alvarez so far in the transfer window, which all have been rejected. The PSG one will be rejected as well. Chelsea have come in and made a £53.3 million offer for Julián. We are not looking to let him go unless they pay 77 million, like it says there, between 55, 52 and 77.3. We want the full 77 million if Alvarez is to go. I don't want him to go. I know he wants to go, but I don't want him to go, and I've made it clear to him, if they come in and offer a 77 million, 75 million, you will leave the club, that is fine, but you've got to bring in an offer that the club are happy with. We're not happy with 54.3 from Chelsea. We're certainly also not happy with the highest offer so far of 57.7 from Atletico Madrid, and we will not be happy with that £52.9 million offer from Luis Enrique's Paris Saint-Germain either. We're going to make it very clear, and we have made it very clear to Julián Álvarez, that if he wants to leave the club, with a preference apparently to move to Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid, to move to the Spanish capital, which is fine, I have no issue with that, it's going to have to be 75 million. And I think this will progress over the transfer window. Of course, Alvarez is currently out on international duty in the Olympics for Argentina after completing his international duty at the Copa America. He never gets a rest, does he, Julián Álvarez? But 57.7 million from Atletico Madrid is getting closer to what we're looking for. We want 16 million plus around 15, 17 million in add-ons, which will take it to that 75, 77 million pound mark. If Atletico Madrid can put that on the table, maybe perhaps after a sale of a João Felix or someone like that, then perhaps Julián Álvarez will be making the move to Atleti. But I don't personally believe Atleti have the money. I think Paris Saint-Germain do have the money, but I think they'd rather spend that maybe on a more of a star player like Victor Osimhen, and I certainly will not be letting Alvarez join a Premier League side in Chelsea. That is the sort of move we will not be letting happen. If he does move, it will be to Spain. I think Alvarez prefers to move to Spain anyway, and I think it will be to Atletico Madrid, and we're just going to have to try and negotiate this one as best we can. The sad thing is, I want him to stay. I do want him to stay. I think he's a great player. But I understand that he thinks that he's not going to start ahead of Haaland, which is understandable, he isn't. But if Haaland gets injured, we need him there. And we do need to start looking perhaps options in terms of bringing someone in as a striker or a midfielder, or do we just go with the squad we have going into the next season and go without a striker and play a false nine in De Bruyne or Phil Foden in that position? There's lots to think about with the squad, but at the moment we're concentrating on that midfield role, but our attention might be very quickly switched to Julián Álvarez if a possible move to Atletico Madrid can be agreed. Let's decide the final game of pre-season. Manu Akanji has come back from international duty with Switzerland. He decided to come back a little bit early and captain the side here in the final game against Chelsea. Ederson starts in goal with Lewis, captain Akanji, Doyle and Vardiol, the back four. It's Wright, O'Reilly and Kovacic in the midfield three, with Grealish and Bob in the wide areas with Haaland up top. Hamilton and Dala, Maximo Pirot, Mohamed Sissoko, Ortega, Katongo and Josh Wilson-Esbrand on that bench for Manchester City today for this final game of pre-season, with the Community Shield against Manchester United coming up soon, with a similar side probably going out in the Community Shield with a few players coming back. But hopefully we can have impressive games for the likes of Oscar Bob and others in pre-season, the final game of pre-season. It's the final game of pre-season time. Can we get a win in pre-season? It's Manchester City versus a fellow Premier League side in Chelsea. A new signing from Barcelona in there, going up top. They've got Romeo Lavia, former City player in there. Dewsbury Hall, new signing from Leicester City. Chukwuemeka, Vega in there, who's signed from Basel. Interesting Chelsea side. Ederson. Lovely ping out towards Oscar Bob here in space against Viega. And he's past him. And Bob plays him behind towards Haaland here. And Reece James is going to be problems. And Reece James deals it, but what a ball by Oscar Bob there. Two long balls, cut Chelsea open. Cross does come in. Dewsbury Hall is there. Doyle can't make the challenge. Ederson makes the save. Falls to Madueke and a good challenge by Vardiol. Rico behind to Oscar Bob. Away from Renato Viega again. He's struggling the Portuguese midfielder. Bob. Kovacic. Rico Lewis. Rico in. Grealish with a header! Good save by Sanchez and it stays in. Very good save by the Spaniard. Past the Kanji. So I didn't prick where he was going there. Renato Viega pulls it back towards Mudryk. Jacob Wright across. Back heel back into the fullback. And Callum Mudryk. A good tackle by Jacob Wright. Corner Chelsea, good play on the midfielder. Chelsea not look that bad either. Maresca's side. Ball in. That's Ederson's all day long again. It's quickly along towards Jack Grealish and City. Aroni and Grealish against Lavia. Nico O'Reilly. Great ball through to Kovacic by Nico O'Reilly. It's Matteo Kovacic. It's off the crossbar. Good chance for former Chelsea man. He hits the crossbar. Mudryk. Rico Lewis tackles him back to Mudryk. Ball into Madueke. City concede again. 1-0 down. It's Noni Madueke with a goal at the far post. Poor by Rico Lewis, who just don't see his future at right back. And I'm worrying about that right back situation. I really am. Ederson pings one forward here to Oscar Bob. What a ball against Renato Viega. That is half time. City 1-0 down to Chelsea here in the US. Could be 40 feet from 4 in pre-season. Second half of the win. I would like to win just one game pre-season. We haven't even drawn a single game. Every game has resulted in a loss. A young side here. And that comes in Nico O'Reilly up against another former graduate of the youth team. And O'Reilly to Kovacic, and Kovacic through to Grealish here. And Jack Grealish across towards Oscar Bob for Manchester City. And what a save by Sanchez. Into Oscar Bob, he takes a great touch there, Bob, and he's away here. Oscar Bob, brilliant play from Bob. Bob, past Renato Viega. Grealish, back wide to Katongo. Far post here to Micah Hamilton. Offside, but what a goal that was. What a goal that was, but offside, Manchester City. Tapping at the far post. Turn here by Nicholas Jackson, who's coming up top. Late on by Akanji, back to Jackson. Nicholas Jackson. Callum Doyle slides in. Callum Doyle gets it away. Oscar Bob. Nice feet past Lavia. Bob. Haaland. Grealish. Back to Haaland. Pokes one through to Bob, who's there. Oscar Bob is there! 1-1. Oscar Bob with a late goal for Manchester City. Come on. Brilliant finish from Oscar Bob. And I mean, we're overreacting a little bit here, Manchester City, like we've won the league here with that goal. But Oscar Bob, brilliant finish. Late on, it just deflects its way through just slightly. Off Colwill. Nice touches from Bob. And a nice finish as well at the end of it. Just sneaks it past the leg of Sanchez, and Manchester City might not lose a game in pre-season. The Tom goal against Mudryk, really well done. Akanji. Can City go and nick this here? Well, that's obviously the plan. Micah Hamilton. Oh, he spun Reece James here, Hamilton. Unexpectedly. Hamilton. Hamilton. Hamilton! Oh, Michael Hamilton. Mike Hamilton wins a pre-season game for Manchester City. Right at the death. Spins Reece James. Off goes the young man. And Manchester City get a win in pre-season. Against Premier League side Chelsea. What a run by Hamilton. On the turn. You think Colwell's won it. Hamilton gets his body across Colwell brilliantly. You can't foul him, it's a penalty. And he hammers that in the top corners, Hamilton. Brilliant. From Micah Hamilton for Manchester City. 90th minute goal. And Manchester City win a pre-season game. We win a pre-season game. It's been so difficult. But two youngsters in Oscar Bob and Mike Hamilton step up against a very rotated and young side for Chelsea. With pre-season over, we can only look towards the Community Shield against Manchester United, which is going to be a really difficult game. This Manchester City side deserve that. We really do deserve that, I think. We've played well at times, not always won games. Better there. And that young man, the hero, Micah Hamilton, perhaps one who could break into the City side this season or in the future. Well, this is big, breaking, unexpected news in this transfer window. We had an offer from Al Nassr that was not good enough for Ederson. We thought that Ederson might stay. Then came Al Ittihad with another offer for Ederson. Ederson once again head was turned. But now Al Ittihad have ended talks for Ederson from Manchester City. We expected Ederson to go. We had Cheeky come to us, didn't we, in an early episode and say, listen, it looks like Ederson's going to go if they reach our £45 million asking price. Well, they haven't reached our £45 million asking price. Al Ittihad will not willing to go above 30 million. City will not willing to sell Ederson for 30 million. And it looks like our Brazilian #1 shot stopper might just stay in Manchester this summer. And maybe after that, we can try and sway him to stay in at City and try and get him on a new contract and negotiate new terms with Ederson. Well, another official transfer away from the club, and it is another fullback, in fact. It is Issa Kabore. He has made the move to Galatasaray in a permanent move. The fullback in a move worth 12.5 million added to our transfer budget. Well, here is the news from Ederson, who can't seem to make up his mind, but he has come to Pep Guardiola to say this. He says, Pep Guardiola says to Ederson, Ederson, I want to have a word with you. There's been a lot of talk about your potential move to Saudi Arabia. Pep Guardiola here says, I've got some news because the deal has fallen through. The move to Saudi isn't happening as the clubs couldn't agree a fee. Now, another Saudi club come in, a third club for Ederson. But I think Ederson is starting to rethink this move to Saudi Arabia. He says, that's unexpected, honestly. I wanted the move. However, I've always loved being here at Manchester City. And this team is like family. That is absolutely fantastic to hear. Pep Guardiola says, we have a lot of work ahead of us. And your presence is crucial to Manchester City. We need your focus and commitment more than ever. Ederson says, absolutely, Pep. I'm ready to give my best and continue fighting for our goals. Let's go for title number 5. Let's go for another Champions League, which wouldn't have been won without Ederson's heroics in the final against Inter. The 2 saves he made against Lautaro Martinez and the header in the last few seconds. Everything Manchester City have achieved wouldn't be possible without Ederson. And I'm hoping now this has swayed his mind. I know that he's been offered very big money in Saudi, but now come on, stay at Manchester City. Let's negotiate a new contract at some point within the season, and let's see you be a big part of this Manchester City side. So Ederson to stay, that is absolutely unbelievable news. And him at #1, I think, makes a difference between Manchester City finish perhaps second in the Premier League this season and finishing first because of the quality of the goalkeeper, because of his distribution, and because of his personality, his leadership, and everything that Ederson brings to this Manchester City side. Well, big news in terms of Matheus Nunes at Manchester City. He didn't come back early for pre-season to try and impress Pep Guardiola, which was a bit of a surprise. And Sky Sports are reporting that Manchester City are ready to listen to offers for Matheus Nunes this summer, which is very true. And I don't think we'll be looking for a replacement in the market for him. I'd be happy to let him go. I'd be happy for James McAtee to step up and take over his position in the squad. Kovacic as well. Perhaps a Bruno Guimaraes coming to the team as well. So Matheus Nunes, offers are open for the midfielder, and we'll see what comes in. Maybe nothing, but I'm expecting someone will make a sort of offer for Matheus Nunes, and I expect if that offer does come in, will persuade him to leave the club. So continuing to expand the CFG and make 3 CFG signs to keep their negotiations, keep their relationship with clubs around the City Football Group is on of our objective. It is a crucial objective really for us this season. So 3 players we must sign and 3 players we will look to sign, with 3 scouting players coming up now. Reports on 3 players we look to bring in. Starting with Yuito Suzuki, an attacking midfielder from Broadby. He has got, in 26 appearances last season, 9 goals and 7 assists. Suzuki is a dynamic midfielder with excellent dribbling skills and vision. His agility and quick decision making make him a crucial playmaker, capable of breaking defences and creating goal scoring opportunities. He has really impressed our scouts, this young midfielder, and he can also play at striker. He's got an eye for goal, he's got an eye for assist. He's got a bit of a David Silva ilk to him, but also a bit of Kevin De Bruyne as well in terms of getting goals, getting assists, being more of a numbers man as well. And he's impressed our scouts who look to bring him in and loan him to a CFG side. The same goes for a very, very highly rated young talented midfielder in our winger in Gustavo Nunes. Plays for Grêmio in Brazil, plays his trade in his home country. 23 appearances last season, 4 goals and 3 assists in that time. Gustavo Nunes of Grêmio is a dynamic winger known for exceptional speed and skillful dribbling. That is his key asset, his speed and his dribbling. His agility, creativity and explosiveness make him a constant threat on the flanks, capable of changing games instantly. And we will look to try and bring in Gustavo Nunes and take him down the path perhaps we took with Savio, and see if we can turn him into another Savio and turn into another success story who makes it eventually to Manchester City's first team. The final scout report is for an Uruguayan who plays off the right or the left, Luciano Rodriguez, who stylistically is a very similar player to someone like Alexis Sanchez, a really, really powerful wide player, physical, quick, and just gets into really good positions, got a really good eye for goal from range. 21 appearances last season in Uruguay for Liverpool, 6 goals and 2 assists. Now, Luciano Rodriguez is a versatile forward known for his agility, sharp dribbling and his key eye for goal. Adept creating opportunities, his strong footwork and quick pace make him a constant threat in the attacking third, and at the moment he's probably more of a counter-attacking player, but I think in time he can be brought into the CFG and also developed to be part of the Manchester City first team. I think out of all these players he is probably favourite to make into the first team in this career mode. I think Gustavo Nunes is second and then Suzuki is third. Of course, every season we will make 3 CFG signs and these are the signings we look to make. So the first signing we made is Luciano Rodriguez. He comes in for 8 million from Liverpool, joins the City Football Group and he's loaned to Bahia in Brazil. Now, of course, Bahia isn't on EA Sports FC24, unfortunately, so he will be joining Girona in this one, but in real life he has joined Bahia. £8 million signing Uruguayan, and keep an eye on his development. We will keep a really keen eye on his development at Bahia, or Girona it is in this career mode, to see how he does. £8 million just might be a massive steal. We managed to agree a deal of £12 million for Grêmio for Gustavo Nunes. He will come in and go to French second division side Troyes on loan. That is where Savio initially joined, but then he went on loan to other clubs. We're going to loan him to Troyes, see if he can continue his development in France, in Europe. That is the first big step for a Brazilian player, moving to Europe, these South Americans. So he will move to Europe with Troyes, and then perhaps, depending on how he does on loan there, we may look to perhaps loan him to another club around Europe, maybe to the Dutch league. That seems a very good developmental league. And then maybe he will get a chance in the Manchester City first team. Maybe he goes to Girona like Savio and plays in La Liga, and maybe he makes it to the Manchester City first team. These are all maybes, they're all potentials, aren't they, of what these players could be. But I think I'm very excited about this young man and his development. And the same goes for Yuito Suzuki as well. We are looking for a long-term replacement for Kevin De Bruyne, of course. We are looking at more high-value players, and perhaps a Kevin De Bruyne or so on, to be replaced by a Yamal Musiala, a Florian Wirtz, someone like that. But for 6 million, perhaps he might turn into a bargain. He will move to Serie A, second division side, or Serie B side, Palmero, owned by City Football Group as well. Let's continue his development there. Let's keep a keen eye on his development and close development, and hopefully he can turn into a real attacking, goal-scoring, creative midfielder in Italy. Get them promoted to the first division and see where it goes from there. So here are all 3 players with their stats and so on. Yuito Suzuki, 21 years of age, the Japanese international, 73 rated, he's got 73 pace, 71 shooting, 68 passing, 76 dribbling, only 47 defending and 55 physical, medium work rate, a right footer. He's very small, very petite, but at 73 rated, I do think we could have a real special talent on our hands. I think over the next few years he could develop into a really good player. We've got Luciano Rodriguez, like I said, he's at Girona, not Bahia. You see, 5'10", Good physical, 75 physical, 81 dribbling, only 63 passing, but 78 shooting, 68 pace. A real attacking player, only low defensive work rate. That is something this game needs to work on. 4-star weak foot, he's a right footer, but he can play on the left or right hand side. And like I said, the Uruguayan has been described very, very closely to Alexis Sanchez, but a very powerful Alexis Sanchez. At 19 years of age, he certainly is one to keep an eye on, and I do believe out of these 3 players in the first 3 CFG signs of this career mode, he might be the best chance of going to the top of his game and becoming the top player and becoming a one that makes it at this Manchester City first team. We are looking for right-handed sided players, we are looking for left-handed sided players. We're always looking to develop, and bringing in this man for £8 million, loaning him out and developing with the CFG, it might just be we've signed a superstar like Savio that then comes in for a bit more money and joins the Manchester City side permanently. But it is better than spending 50, 60, 70 million on a winger like, I don't know, a Nico Williams, for example, who looks like he's on his way or has moved to Barcelona or so on. Players like that you can pick up before they make that first initial step, perhaps. And that is the idea of the CFG, and Luciano Rodriguez certainly is that player we are looking at to do that. And like I said, I'm really excited about his powerfulness, his skillfulness, and everything he does bring. He's got a lot to work on in his game. I think he can be a little bit relaxed on the ball. We know that with 63 passing, that he's not really a link-up winger quite yet. But that is something in training, in development, we can develop part of this 19-year-old. And I think we are going to be looking at him in the future and saying, wow, what a signing we've brought in there. What a player we've managed to, you know, bring into Manchester City. And what a player that we've signed. And finally, Gustavo Nunes of Troyes, as he is now on loan there. 17 years of age, the Brazilian. 87 pace. His pace is a big part of his game. 71 dribbling, a part of his game as well. But he's got a lot to work on. He's not the best shooter. He's not the best passer. He's not the best physically or defensively. He's got 4-star skill moves, 3-star weak foot, so something he can work on is his weaker left foot. He's going to play off that left-hand side for Troyes, and it is really a big chance for this young Brazilian to impress the best he can. And I think he will really impress Troyes. He's been exciting at Gremio. He did have an £80 million release clause. Of course, the next Neymar is every single Brazilian superstar youth player that comes through the system over there is described as. I don't think he's the next Neymar, but he's certainly someone maybe in the mould of a Vinicius Jr. in terms of pace and just blistering pace, beating players for skill and pace. And once he gets off that first few yards, you just don't catch him. That is something Manchester City maybe lack. We've got that in Jeremy Doku, we've brought that in Savio. Jack Grealish certainly isn't that. Oscar Bob, I don't think that is that either. Or Bernardo Silva in those wide areas. So that is something he could bring to the side in the future. The same as Luciano Rodriguez, and I'm excited by these CFG signings. That is the end of today's episode, which has really sort of singled in on those CFG signs. They're the big part of today's episode. Of course, the Chelsea game, beating them in pre-season. Another Bruno Guimaraes bid might go in. That is going to happen in the next episode. And offers for Julián Álvarez have come in as well. This series is heating up as the first real competitive game. The Community Shield comes up in the next episode. Thanks for watching. Do subscribe if you haven't already. Please do like the video as well. That makes a big difference on the channel. And we'll see you guys next time.